Hey everyone. Today we're gonna look at Avalanche's Tifa after I pulled yesterday. I know some people were... I wanna preface this video by apologizing for being super negative yesterday. It's just that I know that 60% of those who watched my video are not subscribed to me. So those who are subscribed to me know how I feel about pulling with Lapis. I am always super nervous when this happens. I get demotivated about it super quickly as well, and I just feel like it's a waste to use Lapis on a unit that's gonna get power crept next week, but I kind of need her for Dark Visions. And I just feel always bad using Lapis because it's hard to come by, especially when you're half free to play. I am using real money for the Fountain and the Adventure Pass, but that's about it, right? I don't buy shard bundles, I don't buy the 99.99 bundles, I don't buy the treasure summons, for example. I cannot spend that money because I'm a student still. So I don't know where people get this notion from that I'm a whale or something, because I'm not. I just save up Lapis, and if you've ever watched more than one of my videos, you will see that I mostly pull with tickets, and I sometimes get really lucky, like the last 3 weeks. And that is pretty much the entire reason why I got so upset about the Tifa pulls yesterday, because I am used to just better. When you check out my Noctis pull video, for example, I used 40k Lapis and I got to EX plus 2 and beyond. I was halfway through to EX plus 3 on my Noctis, for example, after 40k pity. And with Tifa, I got literally nothing, because an EX plus 1 Tifa is worse than an EX plus 3 Zidane in my case. And that is the whole reason why I got so upset about the whole thing yesterday. But I learned my lesson. I will try to be more positive for my Sephiroth pulls next week. Alright, but let's now talk about Avalanche's Tifa and review her, because she is nonetheless a very good unit. So in her base form, she is a water chainer or functions as a very capable LB finisher. Single hit finisher, pretty cool, and very high modifier as well, as you will see in a second. In the Brave Shift, she's a flex element chainer. Her chaining move can be flexible element, and she's also the bespoke LB chainer with a huge modifier and super strong stuff attached to it. And I do have 3 videos in total planned for tomorrow, where I will show off Tifa's capabilities. One of the videos is going to be Tifa against Behemoth. I am currently seeing if I can actually defeat the boss without even touching the break bar, and spoiler, it is very possible to do so. One is going to be a Shura trial, and the other one is a one-shotting Amon trial. So those 3 videos are probably coming out tomorrow. I already recorded my Ashura video, but I need to do some editing to it. I still want to do all 3 videos in one go pretty much. And today I'll be out with friends after my exams, relaxing a bit, and then I'll come back with all the motivation and strength for tomorrow's video. So yeah, this is why we're taking a look at Tifa's abilities from the wiki side of things and not in-game. Just saving up time here for me. So yeah, her kit is very bare bones. As you can see, she technically has only 2 really usable abilities. Unbridled Strength, which is a 50% water amp, max attack percent, 300, 250 LB damage, fills LB gauge to full, if you leveled up her LB gauge, that is. And Star Shower is her 120 water amp peril and 20% water amp with 72x water physical damage at Stardust Ray frames. At the right hand side, you'll see the passives. I do want to mention that you unlock 2 passives at EX plus 2, which is another reason why EX plus 1 really doesn't cut it. On the one hand, you are getting Warring Spirit at the start of the battle, which is her entire LB fill, so you fill the LB gauge at the start of the battle. And Peerness of Pull-Ups is a 500 static attack buff to her, which is why she's so strong in the first place. Another thing I do want to point out is her 200% Beast Killer. And you will see that in a second, and I will mention it there probably again. She only has that 200% Beast Killer in her base form. She does not have that in her Brave Shift, sadly. And what you can also see, Way of the Fist and Power of the Life Stream are her only sources of attack percent. So you have to fill out 200% attack from materia or equipment. Now, if you want to gimp your damage, you surely can use Lucius Helm, Lucius STMR, and Madame Adele, the 7-star versions STMR, because they are tied to fist weapons and they grant attack percent. But you'd be losing out on a lot of attack in the process. Or you do this from materia, which is fine in most cases, but it's still going to be challenging. You're gonna need a lot of STMRs for that. And the reason is, when you get her vision card at EX plus 3, that one has absolutely no attack percent attached to it. So one of the greatest downsides of Avalanche's Tifa is maxing out her attack percent. For those of you who don't have her at EX plus 3, this is not going to be an issue. You can use Link's vision card and you'll be fine. But for those of you who have her at EX plus 3 or will get her eventually, this is going to become a problem. Right, her Brave Shift, not her Brave Shift, her LB in base form, like I mentioned, it is loaded with stuff. So 25% Fist Imperil, 80% Defense Break, 125% Water Imperil, 150% LB boost, and after all of this is done, you still deal 200x water physical damage, which is pretty much the highest LB base, so to speak. Zidane's LB needs to stack twice before it surpasses this. So this is absolutely crazy, and even at EX plus 0, Tifa is going to clap things, literally. And you can use her to pretty much cap the water boss, the water human boss that we have in Dark Visions currently. And I'll probably do a video about this tomorrow too. Well, we'll see. But yeah, strong Dolphin Flurry base LB attack. The Brave Shift, unchanged. The only thing that's different is Rise and Fall. It is a non-elemental physical attack, so you can just attach any element you want to it. Only has 200 attack boost though, so keep that in mind. But it also fills LB gauge by 8 crystals and increases LB damage by 150. So it's kind of a loaded ability, but just a worse version of Star Shower. Passive side of things, pretty much the same. The only thing that's different is the killer. Before we had, like I said, Beast Killer. In her Brave Shift, she has 200% Machina Killer. So for all of you who wanted to use her Brave Shift against Ifrit, yeah, she's excellent, but you don't get the 200% Beast Killer. So gotta actually gear for it, sadly. But yeah, other than that, nothing new. Let's move on to the Brave Shifted LB, which is what all the damage is coming from. And the cool thing about this is you only need to cap it once. Do it once to reach the maximum of 350x water damage. And the 25 Fist Imperil also applies here. So, whereas Zidane only needs to LB twice before his third LB deals max damage, Tifa needs to LB only once before his second LB deals max damage. Now I also want to point out that hits. Her Brave Shifted LB is a 12-hit combo and it's super backloaded, meaning that a very large amount of the damage is on the last hit and the frames are super weird. It chains perfectly with Bolting Strike, and if you want to use this in tag chains, you have to find the sweet spot such that you hit the spot. And the last hit, that is the most important part, that needs to land properly or else you deal basically no damage. Yeah, I also found out that her LB works very well with Stardust Ray, and you will see that in my aim and clear, that it's going to work out super well, so please look forward to that. Let's get to the Trustmaster and Super Trustmaster. A Trustmaster I don't think is very good, and the reason for that is this weird wording on the Trustmaster itself. In the game it says something like increase element chain or chain for chain modifiers or something like that, and it sounds like it is the same thing as Lightning's STMR, but it's not. Lightning's STMR works completely differently. And the reason why that is, what this TMR does is it increases your chaining capabilities, meaning when you start a chain, you start at 0% top right? And with this material, instead of 0%, you start at 100% instead of the 300. And this is how you actually reach the maximum amount of damage a little bit quicker. So it's chain quickening is what the materia should read, because you fasten or you quicken up the chain modifier to reach maximum damage. So when you used to have to hit at 15 hits in a chain, you now have to hit at 10 respectively to reach your maximum damage. It's pretty much the same as the Elric brothers. The Elric brothers have a passive that also does the same as this materia. And the Elric brothers, there was a bug for some time that you could not reach that 600 in the top right, and it capped out at 500. That was because the Elric brothers had that bug where the game didn't realize they had this passive. It's pretty much the same with the materia. Super Trust Master is an accessory. 82 attack, 48 defense and spirit, 100% charm resistance, and it adds 500 static attack, spirit defense HP, and 50 LB damage for only Tifa variants and Cloud variants. This does not apply to Sephiroth, this does not apply to Zack and any other Final Fantasy VII unit. Only Tifa, so 7-star Tifa, NVA Tifa, AC Tifa, Avalanche's Tifa, Cloud, AC Cloud, and New Vision Awakened Cloud, and Kingdom Hearts Cloud, I believe too. So these are the only ones that can get these passives that are in brackets. Well, yeah, the accessory, as you can see from the attack, it's best in slot. You want as many as possible. You will always use this on physical DPS. There's no reason not to use it. It is always gonna get used, and you will find ways to do this. Now you guys saw me pull a few. I got every single one. I used 3 STMR mogs for this, and I would go to up to 8 of this STMR just to fill out a full team of physical DPS with this. Alright, vision card. That is wrong, let me fix it. Alright, we are back. I apologize for that mistake. I completely forgot about the vision card. So the vision card, it is a so-called premium vision card. It unlocks at EX plus 3 and it has all stats immediately available, so you don't need to level it up. So at level 1 you have 125 base attack, which is absolutely ridiculous. You also gain 50% unconditional LB damage, 100% unconditional physical and magical beast killer, and if the unit is from the Final Fantasy VII series, you also gain 500 static attack. And this one you can use on Sephiroth too. So yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say? This is best in slot. It's the best vision card you can get in any kind of form. It is like for like with Sephiroth's vision card. His has, I believe, a different killer type, but otherwise it's identical. I don't know which killer Sephiroth has. I believe it's... No, I'm not gonna say anything because people would point it out to being wrong. But Sephiroth's vision card, super similar. The only thing is it doesn't have beast killer, but something else. We will find out next week. And it's just the same levels of good. So let's continue with the damage calculations. I made some changes. I am going to do physical and magical in one list now, but nothing really changed. We're still using a defense spirit break, 90%, 400 stat buffs, 300% LB buff, 45 water amp, 25 water peril field, all done by Nicole. 30% fire amp, 25% field, which does not apply to Terra. 45 light amp, 25% light imperil field. Still a 22.5k spirit or defense boss with 60% passive defense and spirit. Varying amounts of killers. A 150% killer buff to the team to adjust for evocation. A 135 imperil to fire. In total 160 water and peril, that's 25 from the field and 135 from Cacteria, for example, and a 145 total light and peril. And lastly, we are using a dagger, sword, rod and gun and peril respectively, though please note that Terra only has 30% weapon in peril due to mixed weapons. So here we have the builds. Top left is Tifa. Please note that this build or the attack you see is not final because there is no vision card, but you are supposed to use her own vision card. Or if you don't have her at X plus 3, you can use her, what's it called? Her own vision card. I'm totally confused now, I lost the chain of thought. But yeah, also it states EX plus 2 over here, but rest assured I calculated her at EX plus 3. And as you can see, we are using Glorious Headpiece and Grand Reverie. And this is the issue I was pointing out. Now we are also using Unfaltering Fist, and the weapons that I have here, they have the passive and 15% attack, so meaning 35, because I find it highly unrealistic that you can get, on both weapons especially, 20% rare, the 15% attack and the 12% attack. I tried rolling this for the last 4 days. I did about 20 to 25 runs of Item World for Scarlet Glove and I have not seen a single rare, for example. So if you have it, cool, but I don't think this is in any kind of form a realistic assumption to have 20, 15 and 12 attack on any weapon. So the maximum I will allow is 35 rare plus 15%. And if you're going by this, you have to use Unfaltering Fists, there is no way around this, and you probably also have to use either Grand Reverie or Glorious Headpiece. And I calculated it as such. Rest of the team, as you can see, isn't really that much changing. I used Tifa's STMR obviously because it's the best for anyone. Noctis and Arden are wearing it too. These are the magic DPS. No changes here totally compared to last week. There was no change made. And these are the results. And unsurprisingly, Tifa is best. And best even by a long shot. One of the reasons is she has 1000 more attack than Zidane, and her modifier, ability modifier, is 55x higher. Now, if we were to get better headpieces or chest pieces that have equal amounts of attack, such as Noctis's STMR but with attack percent instead of jump, for example, that number, attack number, is going to rise, and it is entirely possible to gear Tifa such that she has 10,000 or more attack. That is especially the case when you fight off against Machina bosses or human bosses, because those are her favorable races. But again, I geared her towards a demon boss, and unless you're fighting one of her best cases, Machina human, you will reach this value of amount of attack at EX plus 3 at the maximum. But if you're fighting a Machina or human boss, you will certainly eclipse that 10,000 attack sweet spot and deal even more damage and potentially reach 5 billion damage. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to say here. Tifa just really accelerates the power creep, and Sephiroth will do so even more next week. Right, so how does she fare in the meta? I mean, she's our top tier damage dealer, gets outclassed by Sephiroth soon, but she will remain relevant for the next months regardless. And the reason is, well, we need more damage. And when you used, we all of us used Dragoons, Noctis, Arden, and either one of those is going to get replaced naturally by Tifa now. We're still going to use the Dane because he is still very capable of dealing damage, but we're also going to use Tifa, and next week, or going forward from next week, we're also going to use Sephiroth every single time. And since Clash of Wills allows us to use 6 units in total, you either can slot in a 4th DPS, which could be Arden because he has flexible elements, or say Noctis if you're using a light team. It's pretty much up to you. And I think the game, well, let's not mention the fact that premium units are super expensive, but I feel like the game has reached a healthy state in flexibility regarding elements and DPS. Yeah, you kind of need Sephiroth, Tifa, Zidane, but you are more flexible with elements. Before you had to use a wind team. Now you have the option, you can go for a fire team, you can go for a light team, you can go for a water team, and you will deal a lot of damage and be able to potentially cap, for example, Ifrit this month. Every single one of those, light, fire and water, should all cap Ifrit. The only thing that can't cap Ifrit is wind. And I feel this is good for the game, because the wind team's days surely got a lot of stale, to me at least. One of the downsides of Tifa I mentioned earlier in the video is that she doesn't really do anything for the team and has no active killer buffs. And she literally banks on the fact that she destroys anything in a few LBs until her big single use Grandis is gone. So should you pull? If you like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Tifa, absolutely go ahead. But she's probably way too expensive for EX plus 3. The same will absolutely apply to Sephiroth next week. And EX plus 2 I feel like is already a good enough investment. Yeah, you are missing out on the vision card, but with shard dungeons you will eventually get it regardless. And she is not time limited, so you can always off banner her and get closer to that EX plus 3 anyway. Yeah, and again, Sephiroth outclasses her on every single race. But that's fine, because Tifa still is going to be useful. And that concludes today's review. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice rest of the Friday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're from, and we'll see each other tomorrow for a couple fun videos. Bye bye.